So, hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Fiction Star. So I will begin with second part of the series. The series name is What If Naruto Raised Anko. Let's start the video. Simply as Naruto expected, Anko became involved out of her mind, clinging to the twins as though they'd disappear if she permit move. Wherein are you, Naruto? I'm hoping you and the others are okay, she whispered. As if the gods heard her prayer, the front door opened. She desired to rush and see who it become, but the twins were asleep and he or she failed to need to wake them. Naruto and Mito entered the residing room, wherein Anko became. Chatting like every changed into right with the world, Naruto grew to become to examine Anko. Hi there, love. Sorry we kept you waiting. Our fights were pretty difficult. Anko stared at him. Recover from right here and hug me. I have been worried sick, she demanded. Naruto instantly followed her order, enveloping her and the twins in a hug, which Mito joined after a bit. 15 minutes later, the front gate's bell chimed, alerting the people internal that a person was waiting to be permitted in. Ought to be Tsunade and Shizen, Naruto reasoned. Yeah, there may be no way they might get in. I was only capable of due to the fact I had the twins with me, Anko stated. Naruto nodded. Earlier than getting as much as permit the pair in. Welcome to your new domestic. Pass beforehand and pick out your rooms. The main bedroom is mine and Anko's, although, he said to the two. Tsunade nodded, and just plopped at the sofa with a sigh. The invading pressure has retreated. We effectively pushed them back. Naruto nodded as he took up house inside the seat next to Anko. It truly is proper. However, our plans have been introduced to a halt, he stated, shaking his head. What do you suggest? Shizen puzzled, sitting subsequent to Tsunade. Hiruzen, in his infinite understanding, decided to summon the Shinigami and seal Orochimaru's palms at the fee of his own lifestyles. Wait. Orochimaru became right here? Tsunade yelled. Yeah, it looks as if he become the mastermind at the back of the entire invasion, he stated, honestly pissed off. You believe you studied Suna Nu? Anko asked. I am not sure, we will have to wait and see. However, we've a more important problem to deal with, he said, looking Tsunade in the eyes. A silent conversation befell. You cannot be extreme. Tsunade finally broke the silence. I'm afraid I am. The village desires a Hokage, and you're the high-quality choice for the process, he said, by no means breaking eye touch. There's surely no different option? She requested, searching out any excuse to say no nicely. There's. Tsunade's eyes lit up with wish for a second before Naruto dashed them with his subsequent word Danzo. Tsunade wasn't sure what to suppose. On one hand, she did now not need to be Hokage. On the other, Danzo'd be a horrible Hokage. Hell, he may even spoil the village. Nice, she in the end stated after considering it for some time. I will be Hokage, but I refuse to do it for the relaxation of my life. Naruto shrugged. That is fair. You handiest have to do it for a few years. Hopefully by means of then a suitable successor can take your place. Now not you? She asked skeptically. I don't want that hat any more than you do. But if I could take the hat from you if most effective to alleviate you of the weight, I might, he said. Surely, you'd take the hat from me, even in case you did not need to? She asked. Sure. In the end, you turning into the Hokage changed into my idea. I'm no longer positive if I am correct sufficient to be Hokage. That is why I requested for a few years. Plus, there genuinely is a chance someone higher for the activity should come alongside. I wager. She shrugged. Well, I'd better get ready for the council meeting. This is necessarily going to happen, she stated. Getting up. Us too, Naruto said, glancing at the others. We need to officially introduce ourselves to the village and spot who we will trust, he stated, taking walks over to Anko. Have they been asleep the entire time? He asked, pointing to Minato and Kazuna. Sure, she nodded. You observed they had sleep a little longer? We cannot deliver them with us to the assembly cause it might get loud, he said. Perhaps. However, I do not need to depart them here through themselves, she stated, staring at Naruto. I had no aim of doing that. He defended himself. I intend to go away. Some shadow clones right here with them. Anko nodded. Okay, well, allows place them in their beds. I anticipate the entire house is supplied? Naruto chuckled. Yes, I had shadow clones supply the location whilst we were watching the fights. She nodded. He picked up Kazuna. Well, permits now not put off any further, he stated, on foot upstairs with Anko near on his heels. A few minutes later, Naruto and Anko again downstairs. Very well, Naruto said, clapping his arms collectively. Let's get this meeting over with. The organization then left toward the Hokage Tower. Hokage Tower Assembly Room. Danzo and the alternative members of the councils were choosing who to update Hiruzen. Danzo turned into ecstatic. His plan to have his old buddy killed went wonderfully. Even with all the rumors approximately the Namikaze go back, he refused to consider rumors as a ways stretched at that. I hereby nominate Danzo to be the 5th Hokage. A overweight civilian council member said fanatically. Danzo stood ready to provide a grand speech but turned into stopped while the secretary who become outdoor entered and stated Tsunade Senju, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, and his circle of relatives want to sign up for this assembly. Silence. Absolute silence. Each councils did not realize what to agree with. But one man stood up from the shinobi facet. I would be clever to allow them to in, Shikaku Nara said. After any other second of silence, the council erupted in murmurings. Earlier than agreeing to let them in, Tsunade entered first, followed by Shizen. She sat at the certain seat for Senju with Shizen's status in the back of her. No one else entered for a couple of minutes, inflicting the anxiety in the room to steadily upward push that brat. He is doing this on cause Tsunade notion. After what regarded like an eternity later, Naruto stepped in, accompanied by Anko, who was accompanied by using Mito. Exact day. I am Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, Naruto stated with a bow. I'm Anko Mitarashi, his girlfriend, Anko said, additionally bowing. I'm Mito. First class to satisfy you all. Mito cheered earlier than mimicking the others with a botched bow. Once more, silence. Naruto cleared his throat. Besides, you'll be wondering how we're all alive. Nicely. You are cute. Third Hokage lied to you all. You spot. He knew that we were alive and he also knew that we had been going to go back to the village. He said looking at the taken aback faces. Do you have got any evidence for your claim? Skikaku inquired. No longer on me, but I am positive he wrote it down someplace. Like maybe his non-public magazine. Naruto shrugged. And if he did not? Shikaku requested, wanting to gauge the man's reaction. I will take a look at, as will my little sister, my son, and my daughter, he said casually. The Nara becomes stunned by means of the last part of the sentence, and he had to make clear, son and daughter? Sure, my fraternal twins, Minato and Kazuna. They're currently asleep inside the Namikaze mansion with some shadow clones looking after them, he said. Skikaku couldn't agree with it. This guy was imagined to be useless. However, here he is and he has children. However, he had one extra check, to peer if the person became mendacity. How antique are you three? He requested, understanding that if the Awile did not inshape the data then they had been lying. Naruto pointed to himself 18, he pointed to Anko 23. He finally pointed to Mito 12, he said without even a touch of hesitation. Shikaku notion about it. Doing the maths in his head, all of it introduced up, nicely. I'll trust you for a time. But you'll do the blood take a look at regardless, right? He requested, of course, although truly, I concept the truth that we could enter the Namikaze compound could be enough evidence on account that only people with Namikaze blood may want to input from the out of doors, he said rubbing the again of his head. Once more, the Nara observed himself in deep notion. Minato became known for his sealing competencies and that could explain why no person have been able to enter the compound over these ultimate 12 years. However, nevertheless, despite the fact that he now believed the man, the blood check by no means hurt. That does make experience. But I would still like with the intention to take the blood check, Skikaku stated again. Naruto only nodded before turning his attention to the Boldover councils. The opposite motive I have came here is to appoint Tsunade Senju for the placement of Hokage. This got the response he changed into watching for, natural shock. After every other long moment of silence, Hayashi Hyuga stood up. I second this nomination. This sparked a educate of people standing up and accepting, all of the while Danzo simply glared daggers at Naruto. This brat simply indicates up out of nowhere and ruins his plan. He'd ought to deal with this brat quickly and quietly. Namikaze compound hours later. Ugh. That took forever. Mito complained as she lunged on the sofa. I trust Mito, Anko said, sitting down. Subsequent to her, Naruto did not say something as he went upstairs to check on the twins. So, now that I am Hokage, I can arrange to take a look at you three will need so as to come to be contributors of this village. I'm able to vouch to have Naruto and Anko take a test to end up Jonin. But she checked out Mito. I'm afraid Mito cannot cross higher than Genin right now. What? Mito whined. Why no longer Granny Tsunade? She said, puppy canine eyes in full effect, hitting Tsunade like a truck. Tsunade resisted the eyes and stated, I cannot Mito, You are 12, and you have not long gone to the academy. Even letting you emerge as a genin is stretching the boundaries of the regulations, Mito pouted, crossing her palms before a hand landed on her head. Do not worry, Mito. Naruto reassured the female. You will be chunin earlier than you comprehend it. You can anticipate your Jonin-sensei, he said, pointing his thumb to his chest, before searching at Tsunade. I might be her Jonin-sensei proper? He said in a voice that left no room for disagreeing. Sure, you have to skip your test first even though, she said, waving her hand dismissively. He just grinned at that. I intend to. How's Minato and Kazuna doing? Anko requested. In line with my clones. They awakened an hour or so in the past and Minato needed to be changed while Kazuna turned into hungry, he answered. Did your clones alternate him? She asked. Naruto gave the impression of she simply caught him with a kunai of path. I did. My clones had express orders to take care of their every want. Anko nodded, earlier than stretching and yawning nicely. I'm going to sleep, she said, getting up and heading upstairs. Guy, I am beat, Naruto stated, sitting in the location Anko had simply vacated. Mito's head crashed onto his shoulder, gaining a look from the person most effective to look that she'd become fast asleep. Guess her combat with Gaara took more out of her than she allowed on, he said with a smile, earlier than getting up slowly with the intention to no longer wake the lady, after he had absolutely stood up. Mito became laying with her head resting where he previously sat. He lightly scooped her up into his arms. Let's get you into bed, he whispered, extra to himself. Shizen just smiled at the plain display of love she needed. She had an older brother as loving as Naruto, however sadly, she became a most effective infant. And despite the fact that he became her brother in all however blood, she was nonetheless older than him with the aid of 10 years. Naruto, completely oblivious to Shizen's mind, carried his sister to her bedroom and tucked her into mattress, earlier than gently kissing her brow. Goodnight, my little firecracker, he whispered to her. Before turning off the light and leaving the room, he re-entered the residing room, in view that Tsunade and Shizen had been engaged in a communique. What's up? I know I've were given to take a look at to grow to be a Jonin the next day. However, I don't know what it's for. Are you able to inform me more about it? He requested, sitting throughout and searching at Tsunade. Nicely you spot. I kinda convinced a few Jonin to test you on the extraordinary jutsus, she said, sheepishly rubbing the lower back of her head. Naruto stared at her for a 2D, thinking through it before responding. You imply my taijutsu, ninjutsu, genjutsu, and kenjutsu, right? Tsunade nodded, relieved that he wasn't as disillusioned as she conceived he'd be. Yes, Kakashi will do your ninjutsu, Kurenai will do your genjutsu, Men will do your taijutsu, and that I taken into consideration having Hei do your kenjutsu. However, he died earlier than the invasion even began. Hold the fuck up, Naruto blurted out, completely ignoring everything else. However, her last sentence hides lifeless, he said, visibly disturbed. Yeah, Tsunade stated, searching grim. She noticed Naruto's shift from being stunned to depressed. Did you realize him? She requested, but suspected she knew the answer. Naruto didn't reply to her question. He simply had a miles-off look. I failed to even get to see him again, he whispered so quietly Tsunade nearly did not pay attention to him. What do you suggest? She requested, virtually curious. Properly. Earlier than we left, I was a member of his small pal organization that consisted of Anko, him, Yugao, and me. He then paused for a second. Earlier than his face lit up in awareness. Holy shit. Where's Yugao? He yelled, barely controlling himself. I heard that she locked herself in her condo and might not let every person in, Tsunade said with a sad look. Naruto checked out the clock and saw it became handiest 8:50. If he rushed he could visit her before it got too overdue. He all at once stood up, gaining an amazed appearance from Tsunade and Shizen, who have been quietly taking note of their communication. I need to go see her, he stated, determined. What? Tsunade requested, burdened. Yugao is sort of a sister to me, much like Hate was a brother to me. If she's in ache I must be there to comfort her, he stated with absolute conviction. But it's almost 9, Shizen stated, pointing on the clock. I don't care. Yugao's own family and circle of relatives is greater vital than the time, he stated, earlier than fast leaving the house. Purpose on seeing Yugao. Anko heard Naruto's bowled over yell and came downstairs just in time to see him dash out of the residence. Where's he going? She requested the two ladies at the sofa. Tsunade checked out her with an unreadable expression. He is going to see Yugao, she stated sincerely. What? Why? Anko stated, Even greater, confused than before, properly. I advised him that Hate died and she changed into cut off through Anko's yell. Hate's useless. She yelled yes, and after I told him, he defined the way Yugao, and Hate was pals. He then were given this look of realization earlier than stating that he had to comfort Yugao, claiming that she changed into his sister, and that he had to, she completed with an unhappy smile. Anko didn't speak for a second before her face lit up with the identical quantity of cognizance that Naruto's had. Yugao, she whispered before searching at Tsunade's appearance after the twins. For us, we're going to be long past for a bit, she stated, speeding after her lover, now not giving Tsunade time to reply. Yugao's apartment. Yugao turned into laying in mattress, almost motionless. She did not have the desire to get up, she barely had the need to breathe. She turned into damaged from her mind by means of a knock at her door. She determined to do what she had achieved previously when there has been a knock at her door. Ignore it, Yugao. A voice that she unusually identified, however, could not location, echoed through her condo. Open up. It is Naruto. Her mind went clean for a second. Had she held her breath for too lengthy and died? But before she even found out, her frame had moved to the door robotically, as if Naruto's voice had command over her body. She slowly opened the door, awaiting there to be no one there, and this to be a figment of her imagination. However, what she saw bowled over her. A blond guy stood in the front of her, his blue eyes packed with sadness, not pity, disappointment. She then discovered her eyes wandering his outfit. He becomes sporting a black Jonin-style vest with what must have been a black muscle-tight blouse of some kind underneath it. She couldn't inform due to the fact she could handiest see the bit in among the vest which become barely unzipped on the pinnacle. He had on a white long-sleeved trench coat over the vest, with black flames adorning the sleeves flowing from his wrists up to his elbows, with greater black flames surrounding the bottom of the coat. He had on black A&BU-styled pants, with white metallic toed fight boots that had black flames taking place the sides, and he became carrying black fingerless gloves. She didn't apprehend him in the beginning. However, then his words from earlier rang in her head all over again. Open up. It is Naruto. Naruto. No manner. He died 12 years in the past at some point of the Nine Tails assault. She stood there, in absolute surprise. Naruto, since the female would not make a move, decided to make one for her, and enveloped the girl in a hug. She resisted in the beginning. However, his next phrases stopped her. It's okay, Yugi. I am right here now. Best one man or woman had ever called her through that name, and she hadn't heard it in 12 years. And Naruto? She whispered, still not sure if she believed him. Yes, I heard approximately Hate. I rushed over right here the instant I found out, he stated, pulling the woman right into a tighter embody. Yugao buried her head into his chest and commenced sobbing. She were preserving in her ache in front of all of her pals. She had performed an awesome job of convincing the others that she was okay. However, the truth became, she wasn't. No, she was really depressing, and Naruto seemed to look that right away. The appearance he gave her whilst he first saw her wasn't pity, nor became it his own disappointment. He became unhappy on the kingdom she became in. I leave out him so much, she mumbled via sobs, her head still one half buried in Naruto's chest. He didn't respond. He handiest stroked her again. She knew why he failed to respond. Phrases weren't wished to reveal feelings. The gentle hand on her again stated it all. Yugao? Some other voice rang out from behind Naruto before he slowly rotated them so her again changed into to the newcomer. She glanced up at Naruto to peer him have what appeared to be a silent verbal exchange with the brand new character before extra palms wrapped round her from at the back of also encompassing Naruto. We are with you, the voice said, and Yugao was subsequently able to vicinity a face and name to the voice. Anko? She asked, her voice shaky. Sure, it's me, Anko said softly. The trio simply stood in the doorway for some time. Yugao relished in the feeling of safety and love that regarded to blow all her disappointment away in the meantime, after what felt like hours, but was handiest 30 minutes. The three broke the hug and Yugao invited them into her rental. She commenced towards the kitchen to make tea for them, but Naruto stopped her and pointed to the couch, in which Anko sat apparently looking forward to something. Seize up with Anko, and I'll put together the tea, he said softly to her, gently nudging her closer to the couch. Earlier than getting into the kitchen, she sat next to Anko, uncertain of the way to begin. She had such a lot of questions, so many who her grief for Hate took a temporary again seat as she stared at Anko. Anko, seeing the look, found out the silent query Yugao became asking. I will start from the start, she stated, earlier than telling Yugao what she Naruto, and Mito have been doing those last 12 years. How the third Hokage lied to the village and how she and Naruto have been collectively and had youngsters. Yugao changed into enjoying their life story and congratulated her on having children. However, this added lower back Yugao's disappointment. Anko saw this and pulled Yugao into a hug. She didn't say whatever considering that she failed to realize what to mention. Should she tell her it is going to be okay? No, motive that'd be an empty lie and he or she'd be damned if she lied to her. She then knew what to mention. She had already stated it whilst she first hugged her. I am here with you, she whispered into Yugao's ear, causing the female to pull her closer. Naruto set 2 cups of tea in the front of the hugging women, who permit cross after a moment and grabbed their respective cups. The 3 spent some hours talking and catching up, reminiscing approximately better instances. Whilst it got past due, Naruto stood up. Yugi, it is getting past due. You want to come back to stay at our house? He asked. What? She stuttered. Well, I don't want to depart you here on my own, and we've plenty of spare rooms at our residence, so I guess I'm asking you to transport in with us, he stated. A bit sheepish, Yugao was bowled over by means of the provide. She'd lived alone for the remaining 12 years, along with her simplest visitors being Kurenai and Hate, with the occasional A&BU member. She grew to become to take a look at Anko, wanting her opinion. I consider Naruto. But in the long run, the selection is completely yours, though I suspect that it'd be excellent to your intellectual health, she stated lightly. Yugao needed to agree with that. She's felt happier inside those last few hours, and it became better than the melancholy that continuously threatened to swallow her. After a couple of minutes of silence, she came to a selection. Okay, she stated before gesturing to her room. Help me present. She appeared to Anko for help. They spent some time packing Yugao's things earlier than the trio lower back to the Namikaze compound to get her located in her new domestic. The Solar crept into the master bedroom of the Namikaze household, before settling without delay in Naruto's eyes, as though the gods wanted him wide awake at this ungodly hour. The blonde groaned as he rolled over to avoid the light. Commencing his eyes, he spotted his beautiful lady friend laying subsequent to him, nevertheless asleep. I need to recommend to her as soon as I will find the suitable ring, he ideated to himself, before leaning over and planting a kiss on her lips, causing the female to stir from her sleep. Exact morning, excellent, he said smiling. Morning, she mumbled groggily, before sitting up. So, she said at the same time as stretching. What will we do today? She requested nicely. First we're going to need to attend Tsunade's professional coronation. After that, we have our checks. No longer positive what to do after those, although, he stated, getting up and stretching as properly. Nicely. I'm going to hit the shower, he stated earlier, then heading closer to the toilet. I will be part of you, Anko said, following after him. Tsunade changed into a touch nervous. In the end, she needed to supply a grand speech about how she became going to make the village hire you. Okay, Tsunade? Shizen's voice rang out from her doorway. I am first class, Shizen, she stated nervously, just a little frightened. That's comprehensible. But do not forget approximately the assessments for Naruto and the others, she reminded Tsunade. I know, I realize, I just hope I don't mess up this speech, she stated, searching involved. You will be first class, Shizen reassured. In the end, I will be proper beside you, she smiled. Tsunade visibly calmed down listening to that. Thank you, Shizen, she said, turning to the lady. It meant a lot to me. Naruto's voice echoed down the hall. Anybody awaken? We've got a massive agenda these days. That guy, Shizen stated, shaking her head. Waking all people up at 7 inside the morning. Well, it's higher to be up early than overdue, Tsunade stated, offhandedly. I don't need to hear that from you. Shizen deadpanned. I had to pull you out of bed so that you should get ready. Tsunade pouted. Hello. I will stand up early on my own. She lied, right? Shizen stated, now not believing her one bit. Tsunade huffed something. I'm nearly carried out dressing. You can cross-dress yourself. Shizen checked out her one greater time. Before shrugging and leaving the room, Naruto became within the kitchen, making ready breakfast when the sound of 4 sets of footsteps entered his ears. He turned to see Mito, Tsunade, Shizen, and Yugao take seats at the desk, wherein Anko turned into already feeding Minato and Kazuna. Properly morning, he called out cheerfully, getting loss of life glares from Mito and Yugao. Why'd you wake us up so early? Mito pouted. Tsunade's coronation starts off evolved today at 11, so I figured due to the fact that I used to be forced to awaken at 7 I would wake you all up at 7 so we are able to get dressed. eat breakfast, and relax until it is time to go away, he said with a smile, forced to arise? Yugao requested, stressed. Anko chuckled, due to the fact that she knew what Naruto supposed. You spot, Yugi. The solar loves to blind me every morning. It is simply beginning to grind my gears, he stated, his voice tinged with annoyance. Yugao laughed at his price. That's too humorous. Naruto failed to reply. He was just satisfied that she become laughing besides. He stated, setting more than one plates down in the front of everybody with the help of shadow clones. Dig in, he said smiling. 3 hours later, Village Square, Tsunade's coronation started, and she or he stepped up to start her speech. Naruto tuned out the speech on the grounds that he'd heard it almost 100 instances this morning. Motive: Tsunade determined to practice in front of all of them after breakfast. He decided to glance across the target market to look if there have been any faces he'd consider. He noticed the man who supported his choice to make Tsunade Hokage. Hayashi Hyuga became his call if Naruto remembered successfully. The person became standing to the left of the stage with what must have been his 2 daughters, one on each aspect of him. The taller lady couldn't have been older than Mito. Even as the alternative lady gave the look to be round 7, he observed that the younger girl had dried tears in her eyes. It concerned him, but he filed it for later. In the end, who turned into he to interfere in some other person's own family lifestyles? He have been questioning and searching round for longer than he notion. Cause Tsunade had completed her speech and became saying their assessments, and what they concerned. After her coronation became over, they, at the side of the human beings of Konoha, headed to the Chun Assessment Stadium, which was nevertheless under production but changed into rebuilt sufficient for use. Okay, we'll begin with Naruto's tests first, then we're going to do Anko's, and sooner or later Mito's. Tsunade referred to as out whilst all and sundry become in position. Will, Kakashi, and Naruto pop out right here. Naruto stepped into the middle of the area and placed his fingers in his pocket. He then sighed and checked out Tsunade. You know he's going to be late, right? He stated in an impassive voice. Properly point. She blushed, embarrassed earlier than clearing her throat. Ahem. Can Guy come down? We will begin with taijutsu. Guy jumped right down to the arena, yelling nonsense about the springtime of teenagers. Naruto tuned the man out and were given into his father's stance, which he tailored and made his very own. Begin. Tsunade yells, cutting the air in between the two. Either moved. A proverbial dirt ball blew throughout the gap among them. Guy, reputedly much less patient than Naruto, rushed ahead, attractive the blonde in a fierce taijutsu struggle, which the blonde kept up and coupled without difficulty. Guy, noticing that Naruto seemed to be conserving, returned a bit determined to take his weights off. He jumped back and crouched down, gaining a raised eyebrow from Naruto, which quickly became to moderate surprise when Guy removed weights from his legs, causing a crater on the floor. That feels better, man shouted. Interesting, how an awful lot did both of these weigh? Naruto asked. 100 pounds every. Why? Man questioned. Naruto placed his hand underneath his chin. It's about the same as my level resistance seal, he said earlier, then acting a hand seal, lowering his resistance seal to 2, trying to peer how a whole lot quicker he become at that stage, and whether or not or no longer man should preserve up. Man simply shrugged and rushed at Naruto once more, trying to kick him. Naruto effortlessly caught his leg before yanking the person forward, handing over an intestine-wrenching punch to his gut, causing the man to buckle over in pain. Oops. Naruto muttered. Wager I am stronger at this degree too. He rubbed the back of his head. Winner. Naruto, Tsunade referred to as out, given that man was struggling to even get up. Naruto knelt down and healed the damage along with his scientific jutsu, then helped Guy up. Sorry, approximately that, he stated apologetically. Forgot that my strength additionally increases after I decrease my resistance seal. Guy just waved the apology off. Bah, don't worry about it. That become a extremely good fight. I noticed how vibrant your flames of teenagers are, and that greater than makes up for the pain, he said, smiling a goofy smile. Naruto handiest nodded dumbly. Properly. I agree that the fight became awesome. I would like to fight you once more someday at complete electricity. He smiled at Guy, who lowered back at full force. So do I. Guy then took on a questioning pose. If Kakashi were not already my everlasting rival, I would really pick you. Naruto, now not certain what he intended, said that is a disgrace. Properly, we are able to still be friends, right? He asked, stretching out his hand. Which man right away took you guess? He beamed. Ahem. Tsunade cleared her throat. We've other matches to get to. Naruto had the deficiency to appearance embarrassed sorry, got overexcited, he turned to man talk to you later, man. Best nodded earlier than returning to the sidelines, so, on the grounds that Kakashi remains past due, we'll circulate on to the genjutsu check, she said. Will Kurenai come down please? Kurenai stepped into the middle. So, who is going to begin? She requested. Naruto. I consider within the old adage, girls first, Naruto said evenly, fair sufficient, she stated before going through hand seals pronouncing Megan, Jubaku Satsu, demonic phantasm, tree bind dying. Naruto made no indication that something passed off. In the beginning Kurenai concept it labored. That changed into till he cocked his head to the facet, simply careworn, turned into something purported to happen, he blankly asked. Kurenai face planted at this before capturing to her toes. What do you suggest? Are you implying my genjutsu had no effect on you? Naruto regarded hesitant to reply before subsequently speak me. Sure? He requested, still pressured. Kurenai and Tsunade both couldn't accept as true with it. Hayashi. Tsunade yelled, use your Byakugan and have a look at Naruto's chakra. He did as requested and his eyes widened. His chakra is formed like a defensive guard round his entire body. That must be why the genjutsu failed to paintings. Tsunade's jaw dropped. Are you saying he is proof against genjutsu? She requested, properly. I am no longer sure approximately the genjutsu from the Sharingan, but he's most possibly immune to all different genjutsu, he stated. Nonetheless in surprise, Naruto regarded worried him. Why are you guys gazing me? He hadn't heard their communique cause the two were some distance away. Naruto, you're a censor, right? Tsunade requested. Why yes, idea you knew that? How else would I've sensed your chakra lower back when we first met? He requested, properly. Whilst you positioned it like that it makes sense, she stated, nevertheless stunned. What makes experience? He requested, feeling ignored of the loop. You have got a thin layer of chakra surrounding your complete body. Your high chakra control, blended along with your sensor capabilities, has made you resistant to nearly all types of genjutsu. She spoke back his query. This is brilliant. He grinned. Oh, by using the way, are you positive you want me to forge the genjutsu on Kurenai? Even my more tame one automotive short-term trauma, he requested, inflicting Kurenai to sweat, silently hoping her chief would show mercy. I guess, in any case, the capacity to be nearly immune far exceeds the capacity to use it, she said. Kurenai set free a sigh of comfort, then looked at Naruto. This became fun. Even if my genjutsu did not work, she said. I agree, Naruto said, stretching out his hand. Pals? He asked. Kurenai paused for a second before grabbing his hand. Buddies. She then left the arena. Okay, will Yugao come down please? Tsunade known as out. Yugao entered and Naruto beamed at her. Hiya, Yugi. You prepared for a good suit? He stated cheerfully. Sure, I suppose so, Yugao said, a bit hesitant. After all, Kenjutsu was her past due fiancé's uniqueness. However, Naruto and Anko confirmed her that she nevertheless had own family, and that was sufficient for now. Suitable. Allows make it one to recall, he stated, taking his Kenjutsu stance, which changed into basically his Taijutsu stance changed to paintings with two tantos. Yugao took her very own stance earlier than Tsunade called out start. The two rushed at every other, sparks of metal being the handiest issue all and sundry beneath the jonin ought to see. Naruto and Yugao were even in Kenjutsu, that was glaring, and it regarded that neither fighter desired to forestall. Tsunade determined to allow the two fight, considering that Kakashi hadn't arrived and the two appeared to be having amusing 10 minutes of consistent combating later the two subsequently broke aside, both panting heavily. You are clearly top, Yugi. Naruto complimented. You, too, she huffed out. I'm gonna call it a draw. Tsunade referred to as out. The two looked at her and pouted in sync. Tsunade couldn't believe how an awful lot they gave the impression of real siblings at that second. She pointed to her left. Kakashi arrived 4 minutes ago. The pair then became to observe Kakashi, both sporting glares. It turned into critically unreal. How may want to completely distinct humans look like fraternal twins? Kakashi become anxious on the glares. But he stood his ground. Sorry, I'm past due. I ran into an vintage woman who was stuck in a tree, he stated with a watched smile. This statement triggered Naruto and Yugao to briefly drop their glares and glance at each other. Did he just say what I think he did? He asked her. I suppose so. She muttered. The two then backed to evident at him, their purpose now fold. On one hand, he ruined their amusing, and on the opposite, He just lied to them with the lamest excuse. Besides, Tsunade referred to as out, seeking to regain manage of the state of affairs but stopped while the two's glares grew to become to her. The glares stopped after a 2D, permitting her to retain W. We can begin the ninjutsu test now, she stated. Hoping the two would not glare at her with that devastating blue and brown eye blend, Naruto grew to become to Yugao nicely. I wager we've to call it here. Spar later? He asked, outstretching his hand. Appears like amusing, she said, taking his hand and shaking it, before stepping out of the manor. So, Kakashi, any jutsu is permitted? Naruto requested. I wager. Kakashi shrugged. Cool. Naruto then walked as much as Kakashi and stretched out his hand. Allows have an awesome in shape. Kakashi took the hand and I smiled agreed. The two then stepped into the center of the area. Baggy Tsunade commenced pronouncing, however changed into reduce off by a flash of yellow. No longer a literal flash of yellow, simply his hair. Before Naruto seemed in the back of Kakashi, leaving the person bowled over guy. I knew he had that jutsu in his arsenal, however I did not assume he'd use it in a spar, she thought. W what? Kakashi stuttered. How? When? Naruto did not answer that question, he instead requested, do you forfeit? Kakashi, most effective, nodded, worrying more about the answer to his question. Naruto eliminated the kunai from his throat and stepped again. It's easy, definitely. Once I left the village 12 years in the past, I took everything from my residence, together with all of my dad's scrolls. I recognize almost every jutsu that my dad did, he said earlier. Then adopting a sad smile, I discovered them to, properly, honor his memory. Like how Mito's gaining knowledge of Fuinjutsu, Kakashi becomes shocked beyond phrases. This was his sensei's son, and he knew nearly every jutsu his dad did. Kakashi didn't doubt the man's declare, in view that he knew the Haraishin no Jutsu, Flying Thunder God technique, which in itself was almost not possible to analyze nicely. Now that my assessments are executed, it's Anko's turn, Naruto stated. Earlier than exiting the arena, Anko walked down and stood throughout from the nevertheless greatly surprised guy. What's up, Kakashi? Snap out of it. She barked at the person, who jumped and checked out her. Sorry, permit start, he stated. What's up? This is my process, Tsunade yelled, before cutting the air between them. Begin, she stated. Anko jumped lower back and went via hand seals, calling out Suetun, Mizun no Tatsumaki, water release, tornado of water, unleashing a medium-sized tornado of water at Kakashi, who countered with a big fireball, inflicting an explosion of steam on the point of touch. Kakashi flew through hand seals pronouncing Futon, De Tapa, wind release, top-notch step forward, sending out a big blast of wind that cleared the location of steam, most effective to at once go through extra hand seals, using his Sharingan to duplicate Anko's Jutsu Raiten, Kaminari no Dangan, lightning release, lightning bullet. The two bullets of lightning collided in midair. Kakashi, seeing the jutsu, stopped the suit to invite what became that jutsu. Anko crossed her palms in a pout. It was a jutsu that I created with the assist of Naruto, that you just kindly stole, she said, accompanied with a glare at the man. Kakashi had the decency to look sheepish. Sorry about that, it was a warmness of the second decision, something, Anko stated, still peeved at having her tough work stolen. I hate the Sharingan, she grumbled to herself, mentally promising no longer to apply any of her custom jutsu round Kakashi or Sasuke while not having it perfected, so she may want to do it with only a few hand seals, making it impossible to replicate. Kakashi walked out of the arena only to be approached through Naruto. You're not gonna replicate any of my jutsus proper? He stated. I'm no longer as forgiving as my lover, he said with a sickly candy smile. Kakashi felt a shiver move up his spine. And no, he stated fast, like I instructed Anko. It changed into something I did inside the second. Naruto best nodded. What approximately him? He asked, pointing to Sasuke. He hasn't even activated his yet. The boy and my crew hasn't even long passed on a C-rank challenge yet. He shrugged. Naruto's eyes widened. How long have they been genin? He inquired. Approximately 7 months, Kakashi said simply. While I get my genin group, I plan to have them equipped in a month, Naruto stated as though stating a fact. Oh surely? What makes you so confident? Kakashi requested, intrigued to pay attention the blonde's reaction. It's easy, simply, I'll use resistance seals, so one can exponentially increase their energy and pace. Then I'll train them some taijutsu from my personal library, he said, his hands crossed, searching at Kakashi. This is an awesome plan surely. But are you certain you can do it in a month? He requested, questioning it wasn't viable. Naruto placed his hand on his chin properly. I handiest want them to be at least mid-chunin since Mito is high-chunin, low-jonin, he stated. Still looking at Kakashi, that's a few excessive expectations. Kakashi located nicely, are you able to blame me? My little sister, who's essentially my adopted daughter, could be on the team. I want to ensure her group can assist her if I cannot. Kakashi, I smiled, that makes sense. Well, good fortune together with your team, he stated, waving as he walked away. You too. Naruto, known as after him, Anko admitted to Tsunade that she failed to realize any genjutsu, but she stated that she should without problems dispel one, so Kurenai tested her by using the identical one she used on Naruto, and as Anko claimed, she broke it almost instantly. Anko's taijutsu check wasn't as short as Naruto's. It turned into certainly an instantly up tie that could have lasted till one of them ran out of chakra. However, Tsunade didn't have time to wait, so she referred to as it a tie. Her kenjutsu test went almost the same as Naruto's. Besides, Yugao turned into slightly better than her, and won in about 8 minutes properly. That concludes the Jonin assessments, and I think it's truthful to say they each bypass. Tsunade called out to the gang, which cheered now, for the genin test. Might Mito and Rock Lee come down? The two jumped right down to the arena and took their preventing stances. Alright, start. Tsunade slashed the air and leaped return. Mito, now not one to attend round, rushed at Lee, throwing a right hook which the boy blocked. She accompanied it up with a left kick, which became also blocked. She then attempted to punch the boy together with her unfastened hand, inflicting the boy to release her arm and leg and bounce return to steer clear of. You're quite exact. Lee referred to as out. You too, Mito replied, then stated, however, I am just getting commenced. Before making the hand seal to launch a degree of her resistance, Lee, having watched his sensei fight, knew he had to dispose of his weights, but didn't want to do it without his sensei's permission, so he looked to him. After receiving affirmation, he took off his weights. Mito rushed return to Lee with a far quicker tempo, which Lee reciprocated. The two seemed to be even, till Mito started out pushing Lee right into a corner, before in the long run knocking the boy subconscious with a kick to the intestine. Shit, Mito said beneath her breath. Motive, she failed to think that strike might knock the boy out. Winner, Mito! Tsunade yelled. She then seemed to Mito, are you a sensei like your brother? Mito nodded, I am, but I'm now not as true as he's. Tsunade checked out Hayashi, who knew what she changed into, asking. He activated his Byakugan, after which nodded at her. She has the equal layer of chakra around her, but it's now not as dense as Naruto's. She nodded. I wager that is to be expected. Properly, then there is no need for a genjutsu test then. Allows move directly to kenjutsu. Ken Tenten, she has no canon last name, come down. Tenten came down and stood throughout from Mito. I'm fascinated to look your sword abilities, she stated with an odd starvation in her eyes. Mito blinked. Okay, nicely, my style is not anything like my brother's, she stated, releasing a seal on her arm, inflicting a katana that became designed especially for her to appear. It became black, and had a pink hilt, with the guard within the form of the Uzumaki spiral. She took her stance. What a stunning katana! Tenten stated, practically salivating. Mito blinked again. Thanks? She wondered. Begin. Tsunade, known as out, Tenten pulled out her own katana and rushed at Mito, attractive her in a close area struggle, which the redhead becomes certainly prevailing. Tenten, not looking to be outdone, upped the speed of her assaults, making Mito do the identical until she discovered Mito's katana's metallic at her throat. I forfeit, she stated to Tsunade, who nodded, before saying Mito, because the winner. Now, for the ninjas to take a look at. Can Sasuke Uchiha come down? She called out. The boy slowly made his way right down to the area, an air of conceitedness round him, and boastful one, huh? Naruto mused. He's going to research, no longer to take Mito lightly. He chuckled. Start. Tsunade called out. Sasuke went through hand seals before calling out Katan. Gokaku no Jutsu, fireplace launch, high-quality fireball method. Mito replied with the precise same jutsu, however she put in extra chakra, absolutely destroying Sasuke's and making him leap to stay away from. What the hell? He grumbled. How turned into hers more potent than mine? She failed to supply him any time to relaxation, going through extra hand seals. Futon, Kukidan, wind launch, air bullet, she said, spitting wind at Sasuke, who changed into pressure to dodge, and after a barrage of 9 bullets of air, Sasuke became panting from all the dodging. TSK. I didn't even have time to go through hand seals, he mumbled angrily. Tsunade, since Sasuke becomes spent, referred to as the healthy winner. Mito. Sasuke stared for a moment, before huffing and storming off. Ha ha ha. Naruto laughed at a woman. Mito. He cheered for his sister. Properly. Now that the genin check is performed, what do you all say approximately her being a genin? She became to the jonin at the sidelines. She's sincerely fit to be a genin. Hell, she's probable mid-chunin. Asuma said I need her on my crew. Kurenai said, hoping to get her want. Sorry, Kurenai, Naruto has already claimed that proper. Tsunade said, rattling. Kurenai pouted. I suppose she'd make a terrific genin till she can take the subsequent chunin tests, Kakashi said. Her younger flames shine brilliant. Guy stated together with his trademark smile. Nicely, there you have got it. Mito is now a genin. Yay! Mito cheered, running as much as Naruto. Did you see? Did you spot? I did it, she stated, bouncing up and down in the front of her brother. Excited, he located his hand on her head, preventing her from bouncing any. In addition, I did. You were fantastic, he praised. She beamed at this. Soon, I'll be a chunin, then a jonin like you, she said, nonetheless beaming. I have no doubts. Now allows get home so we will relaxation, he said. Main the lady over to where in Anko become, ready to head? He asked her. Yeah, I am eager to get again to the twins, she said, falling into steps subsequent to Mito and Naruto. Me, however, I'm gonna must buy groceries, so I will walk you domestic, after which head out, he said. Seems like a plan, Anko stated. Park close to the marketplace district. An hour later, Naruto become on foot domestic, with grocery bags in every of his arms, whilst he heard silent sobbing coming from the park to his left. His interest caused him to show and head in the direction of the crying. When he got inside 10 feet of it, he observed a bit lady sobbing on a bench. Now, not wanting to depart the lady outside by myself, determined to method her and spot what changed into incorrect. Setting the luggage on the ground, he requested, you okay? The woman visibly jumped at his phrases before spinning round and gazing him. Who are you? She asked, hesitant. I'm Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. What is your call? He stated, kneeling in the front of the small female. Her eyes widened at the name, however she appeared to muster the braveness to answer his question. Hanabi Hyuga, she whispered. What are you doing out of doors this past due through yourself? He requested. She commenced to rip up at that question, but answered nonetheless. Father, said IW changed into T2W weak for T the C clan, she said, tears streaming down her face. Do you suggest to mention that he disowned you? He asked, getting barely angry. The woman simplest nodded, pointing to her brow, wherein there has been a seal in the center of it. He be branded me, she said in a somber tone. It really is terrible. Do you have got somewhere to move? He asked, receiving a nod in the poor whom he pondered, stifling his rage. For now, might you want to come to my home? I am positive Anko, Mito, and the others would not mind. The woman's eye widened more than earlier. Than Are you sure? She asked hesitantly. Oh, direction, there is no manner in hell I ought to simply depart you out right here through yourself, and if you have no domestic to visit, then I'll offer you mine, he said. With a heat smile, the female seemed unable to maintain her feelings and take a look at. She lunged at Naruto, crashing into his chest and sobbing, saying thanks. Over and over once more, Naruto allowed the lady cry, understanding that it changed into the quality medicine for grief. So, allow me get this immediately, Anko stated, sitting across from Naruto, who had a sleeping Hanabi with her head on his thigh. Her father disowned her. You determined her crying inside the park, and you provided to allow her live right here? Yes, he stated with a nod. Anko rubbed her temple. And what are you going to do if her father suggests up? She requested. Easy, tell him to fuck off, and if he attempts to drag some legal shit, I'll shut it down by way of telling him that he disowned her from the clan, which means that he forfeited all say in her existence, he said, decided. I wager. However, what then? She inquired. Well, I was thinking we might permit her live with us and move from there, he said, scratching the return of his head. In other phrases, you did not assume that a ways ahead? She stated, shaking her head. Properly, no. I handiest desired to get her out of the streets, and if what I noticed all through the coronation is something to head by using her life with her extended family wasn't that accurate, he said. Properly, we're going to ask her when she wakes up, and go from there. She were given up and went into the kitchen. Want some tea? I might love some, he smiled. After a couple of minutes, Anko introduced within the tea, and the two determined to look ahead to the woman to awaken. Hanabi woke up 30 minutes later with a start until she remembered what occurred in advance. She then noticed the slumbering form of Naruto and Anko, who had her head resting on the person's shoulder. She determined to shake him conscious. And Naruto? She asked the blonde, shaking him conscious. Naruto stirred and regarded down on the girl. Ah, you're conscious. How are you feeling? He requested. A touch better, she stated with a nod. It really is suitable, BTW. This is Anko. He gestured to Anko, who turned into slowly waking up. Hi, Hanabi whispered. Hello, Anko grinned. In which am I? She asked. Last I recollect I was in a park, she said. All trace of her stutter long passed after the comfort Naruto gave her blended with the nap. You are in our domestic, Naruto stated. I brought you right here when you fell asleep in my fingers earlier. Hanabi nodded. Did you suggest what you said in advance? She asked. Approximately. You staying with us? He asked, getting a nod. If you need to, of course I do. She stuttered. Father turned into constantly bloodless and distant, she said, the tears threatening to fall again. Naruto ruffled her hair. Your father became an idiot then. What about your sister? He requested. We were not near. She become constantly shy, and father's usually placing stress on her to be the clan inheritor, she says softly. So, your father become favoring your sister over you, he said dependently. She most effective nodded with an unhappy expression. It truly is lousy, Anko stated, slamming her fist into her palm. I am gonna train him a lesson. Now, Anko, no need to into violence. The quality revenge we ought to get for her would be to take her underneath our wing and educate her to surpass her father, and additionally discover a way to eliminate that disgusting seal, he said, causing Hanabi to sit up straight at that final part. Eliminate the caged foul seal? It's possible? She requested, almost begging. I don't know. I must examine it and learn how it really works. I'm able to begin proper away in case you'd like, he stated to her, getting a frantic nod from the female. Okay, lay down at the sofa. Hanabi did as he stated, and Naruto commenced looking at the seal on her head, studying it for almost an hour earlier than coming to a conclusion. I won't be able to remove it. Purpose it would motive your dying upon doing so. However, I will seal it into a unique seal that nullifies the issue in which pain might be inflicted on you through the seal. What do you suggest? Anko asked. Basically, the seal would work as intended, but the factor in which someone may want to make a hand seal to purpose pain to the sufferer would not work. That means Hanabi might be genuinely unfastened from her extended family, he said earlier than getting tackled with the aid of the female. Certainly, she asked, her voice full of happiness and wish. Sure, but as I said, I cannot fully get rid of the seal, however handy is seal it in a specific seal. But the properly information is I can make the seal itself invisible to your head as long as you do not put chakra into it, he said, patting the woman again. Thanks so much. Whilst can you do it? She inquired. I'll want a while to create the seal from scratch, on account that I had a clone replica of the seal onto this paper. Inside the meantime, how about we begin your education? He smiled at her. I wager we will make you a genin in the year, maybe even a month if we use resistance seals. Naruto, she's most effective 7, she's too young to be a genin, Anko reminded him. Truthful point, what do you want to do, Hanabi? He asked. I want to get stronger, and prove my clan and father wrong, she stated determined. How are we able to say no to that resolve? He chuckled, looking at Anko. Exceptional, however do not rush her, she demanded. I'll supply her the identical education habitual I gave Mito at her age, best barely modified to account for her not having a bija sealed into her, he said, getting up. Are the twins asleep? He requested her. They should be. They were once I final checked whilst you were studying the seal, she replied. Hanabi, let's move. Pick out your room, he said, heading upstairs. Observed with the aid of Anko and Hanabi. 2 months later, Hanabi and Mito have grown near over the months, Mito being Hanabi's other more involved big sister. Hanabi's schooling has been going nicely, she's already low genin stage, and the resistance seals were instrumental in her growth. Naruto went to Tsunade a month after Hanabi moved in and defined the scenario, and how Naruto became close to growing the seal to help her be loose. At some stage in their speak, Tsunade brought up the concept of adopting Hanabi. Naruto turned into uncertain in the beginning. However, while Tsunade explained how she turned into legally an orphan, and that he ought to undertake her with none backlash from the Hyuga extended family. Naruto decided to ask Hanabi and notice what she wanted to do and become pleasantly amazed while she instantly jumped at the danger, claiming you're a better dad than my real one. It nearly added a tear to the blonde's eyes. Days after their communicate the adoption become respectable, Hanabi changed into now Hanabi Namikaze, of Root. As expected, Hiashi threw a fit, claiming that Naruto had no right to adopt a weak disowned clan member. He got a damaged nostril as his reaction from an enraged Naruto. Needless to say, he dropped the situation after that. One element Naruto did remorse turned into that Hinata become being put under plenty greater pressure due to the whole thing, and Hiashi would not disown her since she was his handiest heir. Besides his nephew, who became a member of the branch circle of relatives, he tried to help the bad girl as plenty as he should from the shadows, assisting her to the satisfactory of his talents. Although with everything else going on it wasn't smooth, he wasn't able to assist her as an awful lot as he'd like. He racked his mind to think about a way to the trouble, however could not locate one. And that is where we find him sitting on top of his father's head in deep idea. 2 months after Hanabi moved in. "Dad?" Hanabi's voice rang out at the back of him. She had recently in the previous few weeks commenced calling him Dad, and it warmed his heart every time. "Sure, Hanabi?" he requested, as he grew to become to examine the girl, who directly plopped down next to him. "You considering assisting Hinata once more?" She requested. "Yeah. I may want to help her escape from that depressing guy she calls father," he stated with regret in his voice. Hanabi may want a simplest nod. "An appearance out on the view of the village. I'll usually love this view," he said, using his hand to gesture. "It's pretty," Hanabi stated with a smile. "Must I ask Tsunade for help with the Hinata issue?" He pondered out loud. "She's the Hokage proper?" "That means she's smart," Hanabi said with the simplicity handiest a child could have. Naruto chuckled. "She absolutely has her moments," he stated. "And I have run out of alternatives on my own, so permit me take you home." "Then I'm going to move ask," he said, placing a hand on her shoulder, earlier than flashing them home. Then flashing himself to the out-of-doors of the Hokage's window are available in. "Naruto, I know you are there," she referred to as out to nobody. The window slid open and a blonde blur leaped in. "Good day, Tsunade. Am I able to ask to your opinion on something?" He had her full attention now. "What?" "Nicely, you recall how I adopted Hanabi? Well, it truly is brought on her sister to suffer and I have been trying to help her but I am strolling out of alternatives. Got any thoughts?" he requested him. "It truly is a tough call. The Hyuga extended family could be very protecting of their methods and Hinata is the cutting-edge extended family inheritor," she said with a sad smile. "So, basically I have to watch for him to disown her too," he stated, pissed off. "Legally, yeah," she said, leaning again in her chair. "What if Niji becomes stronger than Hinata?" she requested. "What do you mean?" "Nicely, the Hyuga clan head needs to be sturdy if you want to lead, so if Niji is more potent than Hinata, and Hinata is weaker than Niji, then the odds of him disowning her increase," she said. "It's a legitimate plan, however I am involved approximately the emotional damage it can motive to Hinata." He expressed his concern. "Don't worry, simply ask her if she wants to go away, and if she does inform her the plan," she stated. Naruto rubbed his temple in notion. "Should you summon her right here?" "I'd want to ask her as soon as viable," he stated. "Of course, boar," she called out, and an ANB wearing a boar mask kneeled in front of her. "Cross-retrieve Hinata Hyuga." "Sure, Lord Hokage." The ANBU left in a swirl of leaves. Some moments later, Hinata nervously entered the room. "YUC referred to as our Lord H. Hokage?" she asked while stuttering. "Yes, this factors to Naruto, is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, and he has expressed the desire to adopt you like he did your more youthful sister," Tsunade stated. Hinata's eyes widened in shock. "What?" she in the end asked. "I've visible how your father has dealt with you, and I have been helping you from the shadows," he said. "That was you?" Hinata asked, exceptionally without stuttering. "Yes, but I cannot undertake you as things stand," he stated. "What do you imply?" she asked nicely. "Your father is attempting to groom you into taking on the extended family. However, there may be a different candidate. It really is desirable for the activity," he said. Seeing the conclusion on Hinata's face. "I see you understand who I'm talking about," he stated. "Niji." Hinata whispered. "Sure, as it stands you are barely stronger than him. But if that changes and he becomes stronger than you, your father will probably disown you," he stated, knowing the truth become higher than a lie. Hinata didn't solution. She only seemed down for a 2D. I understand. She in the end said. Naruto moved to hug the emotional lady. I have already mentioned it with the opposite humans dwelling in my house. They are all on board with you shifting in case you need to. I suppose I need to, she mumbled, but I'm afraid. That's comprehensible. However, I've two ways of carrying out what we need. The primary is the worst of the two. It involves you slowing down your education and letting Niji surpass you. However, this has the unfavorable effect of creating Hayashi indignant, after which taking it out on you. Or the better alternative. I hinge a shadow clone and turn out to be Niji's mystery sensei and feature him surpass you in a way wherein it might be tough to pin it on you. Will this work? Hinata requested, hopeful. Unfortunately, I cannot guarantee, and you'll sincerely face some verbal abuse from the person, which alone makes me no longer want to do it. However, I see no other option, he said solemnly. I see. She paused for a moment, seemingly to accumulate her braveness. Let's do it, she declared. Are you truly certain? Naruto requested, wanting her 100% into the plan. Sure, she nodded. Properly, we must go along with the second choice first. In any case, it is the better of the two, he said, with a considerate expression. How precisely are you going to do it? I doubt that smug Hyuga who only believes in destiny could move for it, Tsunade stated. Purpose. She'd seen the boy's attitude over those last 2 months, and it wasn't promising. Simple. Use his arrogance and notion towards him. This declaration got him pressured appears from Tsunade, and Hinata. I will show him that I, a non-extended family member, can perform his clan's first-rate strategies. Then offered to educate them to him, making him stronger inside the procedure. Tsunade regarded up an idea for a 2D. And what if he is going and tells Hayashi? She requested, understanding that there was a high possibility that he would. Then this stranger who is aware of the techniques will disappear, Naruto said, flatly. Nicely. If you instructed him you'd disappear. If he told humans approximately you, he'd probably pay attention. That is if he wishes your training. She mused. It is really worth a shot, he stated, searching at Hinata. Keep your head down as a good deal as you could. I am positive your pitiful father could attempt to take out his frustrations on you. He exceeded her a trench knife with the Hiroshin mark on its hilt in case your father gets too aggressive and also you feel like you are in chance. Throw this at the floor, and I'll give up it in an exceptional manner, he stated, looking at Tsunade to make certain she understood his which means. Tsunade best sighed. Naruto, if you kill Hayashi, I will have so much paperwork to do. She said I am best one individual. She complained. Naruto just stared at her for a long second. He blinked and stated use shadow clones, as though it changed into absolutely apparent. Tsunade's eyes went huge as she slammed her head on her desk. Why am I such an fool? She yelled at her desk. You're no longer an fool. You just had a lapse in expertise, Naruto said, attempting to make his godmother experience better. She just glared at him for a second, looking for symptoms that he become mocking her. While she located none, she just sighed and mumbled I guess, into her desk. Naruto chuckled, then said nicely, I ought to see a Hyuga about unique training. See you later. He then vanished from the room, with Niji. Niji was schooling by himself in Education Floor 3, seeking to get more potent, while he heard the rustling of a bush close by. Turning closer to it, he saw a man carrying the standard Jonin outfit, with knee-excessive boots, his brow protector round his neck, with black goggles resting on his forehead, and an eye patch over his left eye. Who are you? He requested, wary of the person. A pal, the person stated. I have come with an offer. What provide? Niji requested. You want to be stronger than your cousin proper? The man requested. Niji's eyes widened in surprise. How do you already know that? He requested, narrowing his eyes. The person simply laughed. Fortunate wager, turned into his cryptic reaction, earlier than continuing. Besides, I understand some of your extended family's principal department jutsu, and I will educate them to you in case you do me a one after. Niji's jaw went slack as his brain processed this facts. What? How? He requested. How else? I stole them, the man said casually. Honestly? How were you capable of read them? Niji asked, knowing handiest someone with a Byakugan may want to study them. The man failed to hesitate, reaching his hand up to his left eye, lifting the eye patch to show a Byakugan eye. That is how, he said, pointing to the eye. Niji almost passed out, however he then became enraged. How did you get that eye? He demanded. My childhood friend became a Hyuga. His name turned into Hiroto, and he died while we have been genin. He gave me this eye after his eye was gouged out by way of an enemy ninja. I've had it ever since. the man stated. Niji appeared to see if the person become lying, however observed no proof of it. This calmed the boy down a piece. Sorry, he stated. The person lifted his hand. No need to apologize, boy. It was years in the past, anyway. Approximately my provide? That depends, Niji said, looking at him with a quizzical eye. What is the choose you cited? I might like that. Allows you to end up the next extended family, head of your extended family, the man said honestly. What? Why? Niji asked, not expertise the man's motives. The contemporary extended family head isn't doing a terrific task, and that I sense his being in rate is a stain on my lost buddy's legacy, said the man, with a scowl on his face. Niji nodded, considering that the person's motive kinda made feel. How long would this take? He asked. I should meet my crew nearly each day and most effective have free time inside the afternoon. This training will take as lengthy as it takes, and that is quality. We'll work along with your modern agenda, the man said. Now, allow start your training. 1 month later, Naruto had gotten his genin crew a month ago, with Mito, an identical twin girls named Akira, and Akari Tanaka. They both had quick white hair, with piercing purple eyes that made them seem like demons. Their appearance seemingly earned them a few scrutiny from the villagers. When Naruto learned approximately it, he was indignant, but he didn't display it, choosing to expose the ladies' kindness and help them become awesome kunoichi. His type mindset, combined together with his strict training, made the ladies satisfied for the reason that they desired to be strong to make their deceased mother and father proud as it became their loss of life want. The women became even greater endeared to Naruto and Mito once they discovered that additionally they lost their dad and mom, being capable of bond over that shared ache. The two had taken to their education like fish to water and blew Naruto's expectations out of the water. The two have been excessive chunin. At the same time as Mito turned into mid-jonin, Naruto turned into satisfied at his success. No longer best did he have his prodigal sister on his team. However, he also had the delight of schooling hidden gemstones, and he made sure to flaunt them to the alternative senseis. Tons to their chagrin, he also had been schooling Niji over the month while he turned into free. The boy now was stronger than Hinata, and his uncle definitely took note. But Naruto had no concept which cliff the clan head might bounce off of. He needed to be patient, while retaining his eye on Hinata to make certain she changed into safe. However, he couldn't worry approximately that proper now, as he become in Tsunade's office getting his team's first C-rank venture a month into their schooling, simply as he declared to Kakashi, "Are you sure approximately this, Naruto?" Tsunade requested. Naruto quirked an eyebrow. Me, Tsunade, could I truly be asking if I wasn't confident in my crew? He said. Tsunade chuckled. Fair factor, properly. I guess I've had a C-rank that no person desired because of the patron being an impolite drunk, as maximum of them placed it. Oh yeah, how lengthy has it been sitting? He asked. Almost 4 months. The terrible man has been basically dwelling in condo, begging for assist. She shook her head. You up for the project? Naruto looked at his group and felt the sheer determination radiating off of them. Yes, Lord Hokage, he spoke back. Very well. She stamped the scroll. It is yours. Accurate luck. Naruto nodded. Earlier than asking where's the purchaser? Tsunade gestured for Shizen to get the person who came in drunk. Took you nearly 4 months. And you deliver me children, and a man slightly over the age of 20? He rudely said. Naruto's eyes narrowed dangerously. Insult my group once more, and we stroll, he said coldly. The man sweated, then apologized. Besides, Naruto cleared his throat. What's your name? He asked the man. Tazuna, the man stated, shakily outstretching his hand, which Naruto did not take. So what are we doing? Naruto asked. Tazuna reducing his hand. You are guarding him. Lower back to wave. United States. Tsunade said. Yeah, I need to hurry again. I am involved about my daughter and grandson, Tazuna said, panic obtrusive in his drunken voice. Nicely then, we should not delay any more, Naruto stated as he and his crew walked beyond the man saying be at the gate in an hour, earlier than on foot out. Konoha Gate. 1 hour later, Naruto and his crew waited for Tazuna, who changed into late. You realize, for a man involved about his circle of relatives, he positive is taking his time, Naruto remarked, virtually indignant. Tazuna stumbled via the gate. Truly drunk, Naruto sighed before going through hand seals, whispering Suetun, Suihachi, water release, water bowl. A medium-sized jet of water shot at Tazuna, soaking the man from head to toe, instantly waking the under the influence of alcohol guy. Akira, Akari, and Mito busted out laughing. even as Naruto smirked no consuming on my project, he reprimanded. Tazuna shot him a vulnerable glare earlier than mumbling about disrespectful brats, and now not respecting their elders. The group and their consumer spark off for Wave Country. Naruto's team and Tazuna had reached Wave United States without any difficulty. Drawing close to Tazuna's residence, the antique guy unlocked the door and entered calling out "I'm home," before getting tackled in a hug via a girl. "Father! I used to be so worried," she cried out. Tazuna patted her lower back. "I'm sorry, Tsunami. Konoha became busy and they were not capable of getting me a team till now." Naruto coughed into his hand. "You can blame that to your mindset. What did you assert?" Tazuna requested him. Nothing. Naruto replied, his palms in a placating gesture. Naruto looked at Tsunami. "It's a delight to meet you, ma'am. My call's Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. This," he pointed to Mito, "is my more youthful sister and pseudo-daughter Mito Uzumaki Namikaze. To her left is Akari, and her twin sister Akira Tanaka. It's exceptional to meet you all. Thank you for escorting my father home. I am hoping he did not provide you with any hassle." "No longer, without a doubt, other than being drunk and past due for our departure," he shrugged, with Tsunami casting a glare at her father. "I see. I warned him about his drinking dependency." Tazuna flinched beneath her glare. "Good day. He soaked me in water to detoxicate me." Tazuna tried to protect himself. Tsunami just looked amused and turned to Naruto. "You did?" she asked, barely able to stifle fun. "Gave the person a cold bathe just before we left Konoha," he smirked, inflicting Tazuna to grouse and take a seat at the sofa. Naruto sat down across from him, Mito sitting on his proper, Akira to his left, with Akari to her left. "So, you want us to guard you till the bridge is completed, right?" he asked Tazuna. "Yes," Tazuna replied him. Naruto hummed, questioning. "That implies that someone does not want him to build the bridge." He then locked eyes with Tazuna. "What aren't you telling us?" Tazuna visibly flinched and eventually spoke after squirming below Naruto's suspicious gaze for a couple of minutes. I am sorry," he apologized. "There's a person named Gato. He was reduced off through Naruto." "Wait, Gato, as in the rich businessman who owns more than one ports at some point of the international locations? What's he doing right here?" Naruto requested, visibly greatly surprised. "Yes, the identical. He arrived right here 12 months in the past, and acquired all of our delivery docks, giving him complete manage over the people in Wave," he stated in a solemn tone. Noro hummed at this. "Records nicely. That modification stings notably. Who knows who he'd least to kill you," he concept for a second, inflicting Tazuna to worry that he would possibly leave. "Sensei?" Akira got his attention, causing him to have a look at her. "What if we attacked Gato immediately?" "It is an exciting plan, but if he sold the military of Jonin ninjas we'd be walking into a trap. However, it couldn't harm to scout out his home and spot what we are handling," he said. "So, where does this Gato stay?" Akari asked. "I know Tazuna became reduced off for the second time that afternoon by means of a kid entering the room and evident on the 4 ninjas on the couch. He did not say something, only huffed and entered the kitchen. What's his deal?" Mito requested. "It truly is a protracted tale," Tazuna stated, shaking his head. "Nicely. Perhaps you'll inform us after you inform us wherein Gato lives," Naruto said, casting a look at the child. Noticing him draw back at the call, "Need to have had a terrible revel-in with Gato," he concept. Properly, he lives within the massive manor west of the village," Tazuna advised Naruto. "I see. Properly," he looked at his crew. "Which one among you is coming with me?" he requested them. Akari asked. "Properly, I'm going to head scout out Gato's manor, and considering the fact that I cannot take all 3 of you with me, due to the fact we want 2 folks here to look after Tazuna and his circle of relatives, I want to take 1 in every of you with me to assist," he stated. "Oh, well, take Mito. I need to stay with Akira," Akari stated, with Akira nodding in agreement. "'Kay then, Mito, let's move," he said, standing up and leaving the house with Mito behind him. "Gato's office. What do you suggest?" "Tazuna's lower back," exclaimed a brief, obese guy with spiky gray hair sporting a black in shape and black shades. "Nicely. Some of our guys in the village reported that he arrived with a team of ninjas," the man stated before flinching while a book turned into thrown at him. "What the hell?" the small man raged. "I advised the 2 ninjas I hired to fuck off ultimate month due to the fact they stored pestering me about paying them for losing their time," he raged similarly. "Might you like me to discover them, to lease them once more?" the man requested his chief. "We do not have time to. The ninjas are already here. we'll must cope with them ourselves. The overweight man stood up. Just hire some jonin from the nearest ninja village, optimistically. They'll arrive on time, the short guy said. Gritting his teeth, Naruto and Mito crouched on a tree department outdoor of Gado's office. Well, it seems we arrived at a very good time, Naruto whispered to Mito. Yeah, Granny Tsunade continually said you had the Satan's good fortune, she replied. I am starting to accept as true with her, Naruto mumbled properly. It seems they have no ninjas. And I'm positive I on my own may want to manage most people of his thugs, he mused. Yeah, this can be an easy mission, Mito claimed. Do not jinx it, Naruto stated. Well, this would be an amazing time to get you three used to killing, he stated. Searching into Mito's eyes. You observed you are geared up? He requested her. I don't know. How precisely do you get ready to kill a person? She asked with trepidation. Suitable answer. We'll return for now in view that it's getting past due, and also you and the others will need rest for tomorrow. Mito nodded as they activate again towards Tazuna's residence. Tazuna's house. Naruto and Mito arrived and began informing them approximately what they discovered. So, we're attacking tomorrow? Akira requested. Sure, we leave at sunrise, earlier than we eat breakfast, Naruto said. What? Why earlier than breakfast? Akari asked. It's great you find out for yourself, he stated, nevertheless not certain if he desired to go through with this. But he knew it had to take place sooner than later, and it turned into better if it changed into an environment where he will be in control than one in which he wasn't. Why do you strive? The boy asked, entering from the backyard and causing Naruto to have a look at him. What do you mean, child? He asked. You all are gonna die? So why strive? He requested. We try due to the fact we need to defend those we care about, and it also takes place to be our way of lifestyles. Naruto spoke back flippantly. But you will die. The boy yelled. Maybe. But I refuse to move down easily. The equal may be stated for my group. Naruto answered. HMPF. You don't know the way it feels to suffer. The boy yelled. The air in the room became immediately some levels chillier. All four ninjas certainly pissed. Approximately his final assertion. Boy, I can assure you that we all have suffered. Oh yeah? How? The boy requested angrily. Naruto needed to reel back his anger considering he changed into speak me to a child. Well, for starters I noticed my dad dead and watched my mother die when I was 6. My younger sister Mito become born that equal day and never had the pride of knowing our mother and father. She hasn't suffered a whole lot because I broke my again each day to make sure she didn't. So do not decide different human beings struggling without understanding them first, Naruto said, visibly irritated. Though his voice was calm, Mito had tears forming in her eyes since the subject matter in their dad and mom was usually a touchy challenge, and to have someone claim that she hadn't suffered had hurt more than she realized. Tsunami and Tazuna were greatly surprised even as Inari dashed out of doors, closely observed by his mom. I'm sorry. Tazuna apologized on his grandson's behalf. Do not. The kid certainly is struggling about something and I've had 12 years to come to phrases with my determined deaths. He looked at Mito and pulled her into a hug. Yeah, that become the lengthy tale I cited earlier. Gado performed his stepfather in public some months after he arrived because the man turned into defying him. Tazuna defined. I see. So he is aware of how it feels to watch his figure die, Naruto stated solemnly. Still, it doesn't deliver him the right to disregard different suffering. Akira said angrily. Yeah, in spite of everything, the two people additionally. Akari began earlier than she paused and appeared down. Naruto located a hand on each of their shoulders. I know. However, do not be too hard on the kid. He's still younger, Naruto stated frivolously. Tsunami entered the room. With a barely hesitant Inari. I'm sorry. I didn't know, Inari stated quietly. We understand, kid, we understand. Simply examine now not to choose others too quickly. It would not do anybody any favors, Naruto stated. Inari nodded and sat down next to his grandfather, together with his mother sitting down next to him. So, the following day you four are going to kill Gado? Tsunami requested. Sure, he's hiring ninjas from a close-by village. However, it ought to take them some days to get here, and he'll be dead through then, Naruto said, nodding and asking, is there a room these three can sleep in for the night? Sure, we've a spare guest room, Tsunami stated, pointing to the stairs first room on the right. Naruto nodded. Okay, you three, move and get a few rest. I'll sleep at the sofa. They looked hesitant for a second, not wanting their sensei to sleep at the couch cross-on. Do not worry, approximately me girls, he stated, noticing their trepidation. They nodded before heading upstairs. 5 Within the morning, Naruto knocked at the ladies' bedroom door and waited for one of the girls to answer. After a minute a groggy and tired Mito opened the door. What? She asked. It's time, Naruto said. Wake the others and meet me downstairs in 10 minutes. He then walked downstairs. After the given time exceeded, Naruto became status in the front of his group. Okay ladies, we are going to attack Gato's manor these days. However, our intention is to do it completely silently, leaving nobody the wiser. The 4 leaped off toward their shared destination. Decided to quit this city's ache. What is our approach? Akira whispered. Properly, you and Akari will infiltrate from the west aspect with the image of mine, at the same time as Mito and I will infiltrate from the east. Any guards you cannot sneak past, kill. However, ensure there are no different guards around whilst you achieve this. He spoke back her. Why? Akari asked. You may see, simply believe me, he said. Akari nodded, trusting that Naruto knew what he become talking approximately. They arrived on the manor and right away break up to do their assigned duties. Just like Naruto joining Akari and Akira, Naruto and Mito landed some feet far away from the door main into the manor when guards walked out and stood on either side of the door. You are taking the only on the proper goal for the lower back of his head, Naruto whispered to Mito, who hesitantly nodded. The 2 leaped into movement, Naruto burying his trench knife into one guy's cranium. He looked over to look Mito doing the same with a kunai. She then iced over, and did a 180-degree flip, and vomited at the floor. Naruto positioned his hand on her, returned and lightly rubbed it. You did right, he lightly said into her ear. The first one's always the hardest. After Mito regained her composure, she checked out Naruto. Is that this why you wanted us to try this before breakfast? He nodded. I felt the identical manner the primary time I killed a person. I had puked up my breakfast. I failed to want you 3 to do the equal. Why'd you kill him, and the way'd you deal with it later on? Mito asked, looking to recognize how her brother treated it. Nicely. The person tried to rob Anko and me whilst we were returning home from a shopping experience. He got competitive and ended up hitting Anko. In that second I considered one of my tantos into his chest. However, I made a mistake, he said with a regretful appearance in his eyes. What mistake? Mito inquired. I appeared into the man's eyes as he died. Watched the existence go away his eyes, he grimly stated. It is why you had me assault him from in the back of. She stated with realization. He nodded. Lower threat of you seeing his eyes, and that I refused to let you go through that, he stated. With Mito nodding as the 2 entered the manor, Akira and Akari had been going through the same issue. Each were being comforted by way of the Naruto clone, who become telling them roughly the equal story that the unique informed Mito. After the 2 have been calm again and had accumulated their remedy, the 3 entered the manor. With Gato changed into kneeling on the foot of a mattress, 2 girls in chains in the front of him. One with raven-colored hair that went all the way down to her mid-returned with emerald inexperienced eyes. The other with sandy blonde hair that went down to her shoulders with ruby-red eyes. A sadistic smile adorned his face. Due to what he turned into going to do with these girls, he changed into about to get started while a tanto burst via his chest from at the back of, spraying his blood on the bed, a number of it getting onto the 2 terrified girls. You are very well now, an unknown voice spoke. Who are you? One of the girls requested, scared of the newcomer. You don't need to fear me. I am right here to help you. The stranger eliminated the chains from the lady's legs and arms, and the younger of the 2 ladies clung to his chest, too afraid to permit go. What's your call? The older lady, who turned into not clinging to his chest, requested. My call is Naruto. Now allows get you 2 out of here, he said before leading the 2 women out of the manor, his group near behind. So, Akari said, in a slight daze from all of the lives she took. We killed each person inside the manor. Is our assignment finished? Sure, you 3 did exceptional. I am honestly happy with you. He regarded to the east and noticed that the solar hadn't all started to rise yet. We've got some hours till breakfast. Allow spend it schooling. He knew the ladies wished something to assist take their minds off of what they did, despite the fact that he'd already talked to them in the course of the stroll far from the manor, explaining how they did the right thing. What approximately them? Mito asked, gesturing to the ladies who have been following them. I do not know, he hummed. Wherein do you stay? He asked them after a second of thought. We do not have a home anymore. One of the women said, searching down. Gato burned it down after killing our mom, she said, tears in her eyes. I am sorry. He stated with a solemn smile. So, what might you like to do? He requested, simply curious. I do not know, the more youthful of the two mumbled. Naruto hummed with his hand on his chin. I wouldn't hurt to have a helping hand around the compound. God is aware of we need the help, he thought before coming to a choice. Could you be interested by a job? Huh? The older of the two requested, stopping in her tracks. Naruto stopped, as did the others properly. I used to be questioning, and then I realized that it wouldn't hurt to have extra humans at domestic to hold the vicinity smooth due to the fact it is a huge domestic. Not to mention the gardens, however I will hire others for that. I was questioning if you two would like to assist around the residence. With pay of direction, Naruto explained. Without a doubt. The younger girl asked. Sure, you would even have your very own rooms in case you need. He smiled. Are you certain? The older lady requested, nevertheless hesitant. Approximately the provide. Sure, but first, what are your names? He asked. The two blinked, realizing that they had never told their savior their names. The older of the two spoke up first. I'm Himari Kato. Thank you again for saving me. She stood kind of 5'4" and couldn't have been older than 20. Her brief sandy blonde hair messily covering her ruby red eyes. She wore a torn white short-sleeved tea-blouse, with sagged black pants, and black shinobi sandals. My call is Sora Kato. The more youthful of the two said. She stood barely shorter than her sister, at 5'2". Her lengthy raven-colored hair framed her face. Her emerald inexperienced eyes still puffy from crying. She wore a slightly ripped crimson lengthy-sleeved shirt, with black pores and skin-tight pants, and black near-toed shinobi boots. Properly Himari. Sora, what do you observe of my provide? We will speak how a lot I pay you while we get again, so we will consist of my girlfriend in the discussion, he stated to the two. The two nodded, with Himari saying I think I'd like that. Sora agreed with her, also liking the idea of a fresh start away from this location complete of painful memories. Okay, we are almost at Tizuna's, but earlier than we get there I need to go buy 2 more futons for Himari and Sora, and you 5 can percentage the equal room. We don't want to inconvenience our patron with a couple of futons in his dwelling room. The 5 nodded. We're going to want to provide an explanation for the state of affairs to Tizuna when he wakes up. Akari reasoned. We are able to, after breakfast, which may not be for a while now, so while my shadow clone is going out to shop for the futons, you 3 will start your education, and Himari and Sora can take a second to loosen up. I am certain they want it, he said, a shadow clone acting subsequent to him, already knowing its assignment. A week later, the bridge become completed, and after a protracted debate, and typically for me, it turned into name the exquisite Namikaze and Tanaka Bridge. After the 4 who saved the city from Gato's reign, it was time for Naruto and his group to go back to Konoha. He had already sent a messenger fox to tell Anko about Himari and Sora and the way they agreed to turn out to be housemaids. So, it is time to go away already, Mito pondered. Yeah, it's been amusing, but we were given different activities at domestic, especially getting Himari and Sora settled in. Naruto said. Hiya, what took place to the navy of Jonin that Gato guy hired? Akira asked. Do not worry about them. They confirmed up a few days in the past, and that I dealt with them. They have been slightly chunin degree, so I'm positive Gato had no idea what he changed into speaking about whilst it came to ninja. Naruto chuckled. If you say so. Akari shrugged. Allows get domestic already. The 6 said their goodbyes to Tizuna and his own family and left in the route of Konoha. Naruto, his group, Himari, and Sora entered the residence after registering the 2 as citizens of Konoha. Naruto showed the 2 around, introducing them to the others while Mito, Akari, and Akira sat at the sofa discussing how well their first C rank went. Well, this is the whole thing. And all I ask you to do is smooth a bit whilst you could. However, the house doesn't get that grimy. It is normally dust that forms in the sections we not often use. He was interrupted whilst a slug regarded on his shoulder. Girl Tsunade wishes to talk with you, it stated before disappearing. I ponder what she wishes? He mused out loud. Properly. Would possibly as properly cross C. He gave the 2 throughout from him a finger salute. See you later. Then he changed into long gone. Tsunade became irritated. She has to deal with the perverted toad Sanin, who changed into attempting to seduce her. Very poorly would possibly she add. She was saved from the man's insufferable rambling when there was a flash of yellow hair in front of her desk and Naruto stood grinning at her. What do you want, Tsunade? He asked. Hey brat, display her if you admire. It is Lord Tsunade to you. An demanding voice stated to his left, inflicting him to turn closer to it, absolutely missing the tick mark that regarded on Tsunade's head. Earlier than he could communicate, she beat him to it. My godson indicates me masses of admire, Jiraiya. I instructed him from day one of me taking this job to call me whatever he liked. She stated, aggravated. Nicely, something but vintage. Naruto joked, earlier than setting his palms in a placating manner. I'm joking. I do not know why it bothers you so much. You're now not even that vintage, he stated, with a true smile. Tsunade did not reply, given that he has said the identical element more than one times earlier than. However, she wouldn't deny that she felt precise whenever he stated she wasn't vintage, even if he joked approximately her age on occasion. She knew he didn't imply it one bit. Jiraiya became doing a very good impression of a fish out of water, before subsequently locating his voice and turning to him. And Naruto? He asked, greatly surprised. I thought you left 12 years in the past. This sentence made the air within the room move bloodless, and Jiraiya knew he just fucked up. Naruto changed into the first to talk. What do you imply? Left the village. Did you know I was alive this entire time? He asked, his voice icy and his blue eyes narrowed dangerously. Yeah? Turned into Jiraiya's fantastic reaction. Earlier than he felt killing purpose directed at his lower back. He grew to become slowly, his face going pale whilst he noticed Tsunade's face. You told me he turned into dead, she hissed, barely able to manage her anger. I did. However, you need to understand he was cut off by a fist to the face, courtesy of a pissed-off, busted blonde Hokage. He flew out of the office, crashing through more than one homes, earlier than coming to a stop. He's presupposed to be my godfather? Naruto requested, visibly indignant. No, I suppose he simply lost that proper? Tsunade stated, her voice lethal. I think I agree. I initially wanted his assist teaching Mito some seals that he is aware of, but I think we can live without those. He hissed the final part, nicely. I dispatched as a way to meet him, and now which you have, I guess you're dismissed. Naruto nodded, and changed into approximately the flash away before she stopped him. Oh, bear in mind, the Chunin checks begin once more in 3 months. I count on which you want to enter your group into it. Naruto nodded, asking which village is hosting it this time. Suna. Seemingly that child Gaara have become the Kazekage when they learned his father changed into murdered by way of Orochimaru. He smiled. It's first rate to look that child is making full use of the second hazard he became given. Tsunade agreed nicely. I'll get the paperwork done while the time comes. I count on you. Would be there Jonin-sensei? She asked, already knowing the solution. Yes, changed into all, he said, before flashing to his residence. 2 months later, Takigake your border. Naruto become amazed when Tsunade gave him this C-rank solo venture to Taki to discuss change family members between them and Konoha. He complained about not being able to take his group, but Tsunade's decision on the problem become final, reputedly. Taki become very wary of outsiders and didn't let multiple shinobi from another village in at a time. He did not like that fact. However, there has been not anything he could do about it. He become leaping throughout tree branches while he noticed something white lying on the ground. Curious, he dropped down near the object, simplest to realize that it wasn't an object, however a younger girl. She regarded to be kind of the same age as Mito, and changed into visibly malnourished. He guessed she hadn't eaten in some days, noticing that it become getting overdue and he need to stop for the night time. Besides, he picked the subconscious woman up and set up camp in a close-by cave. He laid the lady in his handiest sleeping bag and sat via the campfire. He then realized that he did not have any extra rations. Sighing, he summoned a shadow clone to watch the woman at the same time as he went hunting for a few food. 30 minutes later he turned into cooking some of the deer he had killed. When the woman commenced to stir, she shot up, looking round in panic before her eyes landed on Naruto. Yo, he said with a wave. Who are you? The girl asked, narrowing her eyes. Where are my manners? My call is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. What's yours? He asked with a grin. The girl nonetheless appeared suspicious of him, however replied besides fu. She then checked out the deer meat that changed into skewered over the hearth. Naruto, noticing this, picked up one of them and offered it to her. Need a few? I fixed plenty so that you can consume your fill. Fu's orange eyes widened in surprise. No one had ever presented her meals willingly, and that fact made her suspicious of the meals. It is not poisoned, right? She asked, feeling the need to make certain. The blonde across from her regarded surely harm by way of her question, which made her sense a little guilty. In the end, he had spent the time to cook dinner at best for her to invite if it was poisoned. I swear on my lifestyles that it is no longer, he said, the harm obvious in his voice and his expression. Fu nodded. taking the skewer and apologizing. Sorry, I have consider issues. The blonde's eyes softened upon hearing that. I see. May I ask why? He saw a glance of ache flash across her eyes and determined to provide the girl an out. You do not ought to if it is too painful. The woman only nodded before her eyes glazed over. Naruto identified that look as the equal one Mito were given when she turned in to speak me with Kurama. It dawned on him that he became probable speak me to a Jinchuriki. Strength of the human sacrifice, he become curious, and without thinking it through he blurted out, you are a Jinchuriki? This seemed to break the lady from her thoughts, and while his query regarded to sink in, she iced over. Naruto waved his hand in front of her face. Are you okay? Fu blinked and looked at him with trepidation. How did you recognize? She requested, anxious that he would attack her. Sorry. He rubbed the back of his head. My sister's eyes also glaze over whilst she talks to her bijou, he stated sheepishly. Your sister is like me? She asked, taken aback. Yeah, I have been raising her in view that she turned into born, so I understand loads about it. He flashed her a grin. Fu nodded, still a little taken aback, and she or he felt she needed to ask him, why you do not hate human beings like me? It was Naruto's turn to be stunned. No, why could I? It is not such as you asked to be one. Fu couldn't consider it. She became told that everybody hated humans like her, and that the simplest secure region become the outskirts of the village. What's up, Fu? Naruto's voice hit her ears, causing her to appearance up at him. Why were you subconscious inside the forest? She iced over again, but after a moment she calmed down, and for some cause felt that she could agree with him along with her tale. The village I come from tells me to live at the outskirts because I am safer there. However, it's so tough to discover meals and that I don't know how to hunt. Naruto cut her off. Wait, you stay alone? In the woods? Does a person deal with you? How lengthy has it been this manner? He swiftly asked. Fu blinked. She didn't understand why he cared a lot, but she gave him what he wanted. I stay alone, and no person looks after me. It's been this manner when you consider that I used to be 5. Tears had formed within the corner of her eyes. What? The blonde yelled earlier than reducing his voice while he noticed the lady recoil. How antique are you presently? He asked in a quieter tone, which became a good deal scarier than his yell. 11. She spoke back him and watched as his face became enraged. Your village compelled you to live alone for 6 years? With no person around you? He requested, his tone risky. However, it changed into clear. It wasn't directed at her. Fu best nodded earlier than asking, why do you care? Naruto stared into the woman's eyes for a protracted second. He knew that the question was real, however that made the question even worse. I do not need a purpose to care. I simply certainly do, he said after a pause. Turned into all she could say. I care because I need to. Naruto reaffirmed his preceding declaration. One greater question, what village are you from? He knew there was some minor villages around the border. Takigakure, she said. What? Taki? Naruto asked, earlier than getting misplaced in thought for a moment. This changes my task. I refuse to willingly speak exchange with a village that kicks a 5-year antique out to fend for herself. He then went through hand seals and summoned a small, black, 3-tailed fox, a good deal to Fu's amazement. Hi Yorimi, tell Tsunade that I'm second-guessing our exchange. Addressed Taki. He then explained the entire scenario to her, and requested her to return to tell him what Tsunade stated. Fu and Naruto talked at the same time as they waited for Yorimi. Fu had all started to enjoy the time she spent with Naruto, and didn't need it to give up. However, she knew he'd depart her ultimately. Just as she finished that notion, there has been a poof, and Yorimi was sitting in Naruto's lap. Female. Tsunade instructed me to inform you that she concurs with you, approximately canceling the change cope with Taki, and he or she left the selection of what to do approximately Fu to you, Yorimi informed Naruto. Earlier than going poof back to the area of the foxes, Naruto hummed an idea. Earlier than looking at Fu. So, what do you want to do? What? She inquired properly. I for my part don't need to leave you living inside the forest on my own, so I am asking you what you need to do, whether or not it's staying right here or coming with me. However, if making a decision to live right here, I'm constructing you a residence with my mark on it, so I will go to you to convey you materials, he stated. Fu didn't recognize a way to reply, so she sat again towards the wall of the cave and regarded up on the ceiling, deep in concept. After a long moment of silence, she checked out Naruto. What if I went with you? She wasn't looking forward to lots. She notioned he'd say that he'd get her a residence in his village or something along the one's lines. I do not thoughts in the least. You could live with my family and me, or you can get your own location, he mused. She expected the remaining component, now not the primary, live with your own family? She asked to clarify what she heard. Yeah, my home's constantly open to those who need it. Plus I'm positive you, Mito, and Hanabi would get alongside nicely. Hinata changed into lamentably nonetheless living with Hayashi, however it seemed like any moment he'd disown her. I do not know, I've never lived with anyone earlier then, she said. Well, something you selected. I will do what I can to make sure you're no longer lonely anymore. He smiled at her. Fu once more fell into deep thought, and determined to ask her tenant approximately at Haya. Chome, what do you watched? I suppose you must go with him. I can tell that he's sturdy and I guess he'd defend the ones he deems worthy together with his lifestyles, Chome said in Fu's head. I also need to go along with him, particularly due to the fact what he defines seems like a own family to me, and I have constantly wanted a circle of relatives. Fu notion to her tenant, Naruto observed. The glazed look returned to Fu's eyes and realized she was discussing this with the bijou. He decided to attend patiently for them to determine. After a second, Fu checked out Naruto. I'll move and live with you. Naruto nodded before setting his hand on his chin. Hi there. You mind if communicate together with your bijou? He asked. Fu blinked, as did the bijou inside her. Huh? She asked. I have had lots of enjoy with seals and I managed to expand a seal-based jutsu that permits me to go into a Jinchuriki's mindscape and speak with the bijou. He spoke back. The greatly surprised Fu. I bet become as all she ought to say. Awesome. Naruto cheered, went through hand seals, and located his hand on Fu's seal, and before Fu could react she felt the familiar pull of entering her mindscape. She stood throughout from Chome with Naruto on her proper. It labored. Chome stated in surprise. She could not consider the blonde pulled it off. It is great to meet you. The name's Naruto. What's yours? He requested with the causality of someone who become talking to an old buddy. Chome did not solution for a moment, questioning what this mortal changed into questioning. I don't tell absolutely everyone I meet. My call, she said with a huff. Naruto's face dropped to a sad one. Oh, sorry. Kurama did say you all had been specific. Approximately your names. Komiai's eyes widened. She by no means anticipated Kurama to inform a mortal his call, and she turned into even more shocked when she realized that supposed his sister had him sealed internal of her weight. Kurama told you his call, and he's sealed into your sister? The blonde nodded. Yeah, he and then I are practically buddies, even though I doubt he'd admit it. This bowled over Chome further. Kurama? Friends with a mortal? It regarded impossible. However, she sensed no deception from the person. You two are buddies? She asked to verify. Yeah, we've known every different for 6 years, and despite the fact that we simplest talk after I try this jutsu with my sister, we've turned out to be suitable buddies. I've certainly been searching for a manner to hyperlink my mind with my sister's mindscape so we can communicate every time. However, it's validated to be tough, he said, a touch of frustration approximately not having the ability to perform that. Outstanding. Fu stated. You are incredible. No, longer genuinely. I have had assist from my sister with the seal. She's a true genius in terms of them, he said, pleasure in his sister evident in his voice. You taught her proper? Chome requested. He nodded. I taught her all I knew, but she lately passed me, creating seals that I in no way concept possible, and I would like to maintain them a secret for the reason that I do not need any unsavory human beings gaining knowledge of approximately it. I apprehend those people could try and use her understanding to further their own ends. Chome agreed. Well, it has been an honor speaking with you, Chome, but we want to get out of right here before human beings from Taki show up seeking out Fu. He then checked out Fu. How attached for your hair shade are you? She tilted her head to the aspect in confusion. Why? Properly, legally that is known as kidnapping, and it would be better for both of us if we claimed I discovered you by myself with no mother and father, and no attachments to any village. Changing your hair color with permanent chakra dye might make the lie more plausible, he informed her. Most of what you stated became the truth, Chome pointed out. However, it had preserved Taki from gaining knowledge of a Fu's identity, and he or she'd literally disappear, he stated. Does this imply you furthermore MGHT want to exchange her name? Chome inquired. It is totally as much as her, though if she is okay with it. I've already thought of a call with a purpose to permit her to apply her real name as a nickname of sorts, he answered. What is the call? Fu asked, wanting to listen the name earlier than deciding. Fumiko. And we'd call you Fu for brief, he stated. Wouldn't that be suspicious? She disappeared, and not even a day later a lady suggests up in Konoha named Fumiko, and anybody calls her Fu? Chome requested, burdened. It would, if anyone called her Fu right away. However, if we best call her that in private and slowly start calling her that during public, it might be extra believable as a nickname that slowly emerged. He stated with a nod, genuine. However, I am curious. What hair shade would you supply her? And what about her eyes? Chome asked. It truly is up to her. However, because it stands I most effective, have temporary chakra dye, and there are just a few shades white, black, auburn, and blue. I use those when I need a cover at the pass, and that they do not take long to use and may be eliminated manually later, but they do fade away after an afternoon, he said. Fu idea approximately it for a second. She truly cherished her mint-colored hair. However, she couldn't deny that Naruto made experience, and the last issue she wanted became to be forced to return to this village. Allows do it, she stated with a decided nod. Even the name alternate? Naruto requested to clarify. She nodded in reaction. Okay, the best folks that know about your actual identification are me and my godmother. You have got full control over who else is aware of. Even though I might like for my family to realize, I might not force you to tell them. He smiled. You stated your godmother knows. Who is she? Fu asked, curious. She's the Hokage of the village we are going to, he grinned. Fu, and even Komiai's eyes widened at that. Your godmother is the leader of a village? She stated, her eyes huge. He nodded. Yep, my father become the 4th Hokage while she's the 5th. If feasible. Fu's eyes widened. In addition, your dad turned into a Hokage as well? Yeah, he become referred to as the Yellow Flash around the elemental nations, he said, a touch of unhappiness in his voice. Fu overlooked it, however Chome did not. She decided to file it away for later. Properly, Naruto said, clapping his hand collectively. Shall we pass? He asked them. Fu nodded. Sure, I need to fulfill your circle of relatives. They left the mindscape and Fu underwent the hair and eye color alternate, choosing auburn. With inexperienced eyes, she then climbed onto Naruto's lower back whilst he provided, and then they prompt for Konoha.